Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at LINQ to SQL. In particular, we're going to be taking a look at how to create different joins, doing left and right outer joins, inner joins, grouping, summarization, sorting, aggregation, things like that. We're actually beginning using the LINKPad tool today. LINKPad's a pretty cool open source or free tool, I guess, would be a better way to term it. That allows you to do link evaluations similar to the way you do SQL evaluation inside of, say, Query Analyzer. If you want to find LINQ, go out to linkpad.net. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a very simple inner join. We're going to do a join. You'll notice that the keyword here is join. That's the inner join syntax. And I'll do LT in level types. And then I'm going to do on because I need to set my key constraints. Let's do e.level type ID equals lt.id. And let's just go ahead and select, I'm only going to return back a few pieces of data. So let's do e.id, e.episode name, and lt.name. Let's go ahead and run this. Oh, bad syntax here. One key thing to remember is in LINQ, it's the keyword equals, not the equal sign when doing joins. And there's no episode name, it's episode number. So when I run this, I can get my immediate results. You'll see why I like using LINKPad now. I can get immediate results, immediate feedback, whereas in Visual Studio I'd have to write some code to actually output this or debug it, and it's just not as user-friendly. One thing you'll notice with LINKPad is I can view the results. I can actually view the expression tree that gets generated, which is actually pretty cool. I can actually even generate the SQL statement. I can take this and I can copy this directly into, say, Query Analyzer, or I can even change the mode here in LINKPad to, say, SQL, highlight this and run it. If I go back to my results, I get the same thing. So LINKPad's a pretty powerful tool. It's kind of your one-stop shop for doing LINQ development. Well, so let's dissect this real quick. My primary table is episodes. Now if I want to do an inner join, I'm going to do join, the keyword join. I'm going to tell it the table I want. And the IDs that need to match up. One thing to keep in mind, LINQ is very particular. If I swap the order of these around and try to run this, it won't work. Because of the way scope is set and the way that it needs to fall downhill. I think this is pretty cool, but it has stumped me a few times when I've gotten lazy and put them out of order. So just keep that in mind. So that's how you create yourself a inner join. Let's go ahead and figure out how to create ourselves an outer join. I'm going to save that for later because I want to use it as a reference. From E in episodes. Now I want to actually do an inner or an outer join to, I don't know, my episode images table, because not every episode is required to have image. And I don't want to do a inner join because then I'd filter my results too much. So actually we're going to do links. So let's do from again. You'll see notice the syntax changes just slightly. And I'm going to call it EI and E.episode images. Now immediately you should notice something different. Instead of using the join syntax, I went ahead and did from again. But instead of creating a new table name or referencing a completely new table name, I'm actually going to reference it via the child table that's part of the episode object. The episode table in LINQ, actually, if you come over here and take a look, knows about all of its children tables. These are the tables in green. And it knows about its parent table. This is the table in blue. I'm going to do default if empty. That's just an extension method that actually allows you to return an empty row instead of nothing. And then I'm going to go ahead and do select new and I don't know, ei.id in case we do have one. Let's go ahead and run this. I misspelled default. And I don't know how to use my own language. You'll notice something real quick here. Unlike normal SQL where I can have ID in here twice, because I'm creating an anonymous object, I can't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just alias that to EIID, just for our example here. And you'll notice that I do output to the window. Let's go take a look at the SQL statement, and sure enough, it's a left outer join. And it's joining episode images based on the IDs that are appropriate. So here's a real simple outer join. We've looked at a real simple inner join as well. Let's do some grouping. That's always fun to do. Let's do in episodes. And I'm going to go ahead and join to, I don't know, links. And here I'm actually wanting to do an inner join this time as well, just because I want to be able to filter out stuff that didn't have download information. And I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that this works normally. And sure enough, I can get results. So let's do this. Let's figure out how many download pieces or how many download records are attached to per episode. So I'm going to go ahead and do a group. And here I'm just going to put an alias of ed by. So I'm doing group by, standard SQL here. And I'm actually just going to do ed.id. And I'm going to project this into items. If I rerun that, you'll see my output looks a little bit different. I've got a key, which is EDID, and all of its subsequent records. Now, what if I wanted to group on multiple columns? Well, I can't do something like this. It won't actually run. What I need to actually do is create myself an anonymous method, anonymous object, and do something like EDID. Let's try this. But you'll notice this doesn't work either. Well, why doesn't it work? Well, the same reason it doesn't work as up here. I need to actually alias this again. And now it should work. So what we've just gone over real quick is how to do grouping on a single column versus multiple columns. Well, keep in mind that whenever you're doing grouping, these are the only columns available to you in the result set. And the result set is what you projected into your items here. You can call this whatever you want. I happen to like the term items. You can do query, you can do result, whatever. But if I want to actually select those out, I'm going to need to create an anonymous object. And let's just do, EDID. And the way you actually get the values out is do items.key. And we'll just do ID. Let's run that again. And now I'm only getting the 2 results. Well, that's pretty cool. I can do some pretty cool stuff with that. And let's just throw in count for a good measure. I can do items.count. And well, in this particular case, I only have 1. But what we just kind of reviewed real quick is how to do a join, how to group on that. And we've actually looked at 2 different ways you can do grouping. And then even how to project it into your output. And I can, here's my new attribute or column name that's being created. I'm creating count. I'm actually using the aggregation that's built into this. Let's do one more real quick. Let's actually set it up so that we're only going to take the top 5, for example. That's a pretty common scenario in SQL where I do select top n from XYZ. I'm going to go ahead and be lazy here, and I'm actually going to steal some of this code from up top. I don't feel like retyping it. Let's go ahead and uncomment this. Well, if I run this as normal, I'll get 13. Well, maybe I only want the top, let's just say 5. How do I go about doing that? Well, in LINQ to SQL, I'm going to want to wrap this in brackets just because it makes it a little bit cleaner. I'm going to use the take keyword. I'm going to do take 5. And rerun that, and there you go. And if I go look at my SQL statement, you'll notice that I've essentially taken my top 5. Pretty cool. This kind of threw me at first. I didn't really understand that I needed to do it this way. I was looking for ways to do it within the from or the select statement. This is what I consider the select statement. But it turns out you do it via the take. So let's kind of review what we've gone over today. We've created 4 different statements. The first one we did was a pretty straightforward inner join. We learned how to use the join syntax, and we learned how to use the on syntax and how the IDs have to be in appropriate order. We then learned how to do a outer join and how the syntax differs from an inner join by using the from and actually joining down through the object tree that's generated by LINQ. We then actually looked at how to do some simple grouping. We've looked at how to group one column and then ultimately multiple columns, and how that gets projected into a result set called items. Then we then learned how to use that result set as output values, and the items.key. Key basically is everything that's inside of this, and then the ID, it's named based on whatever you give it. And then we did a simple aggregation here. We counted the number of rows. Then last but not least, we ended up doing some top queries. So we wanted to take the top 5. So we did our straightforward join that we did up top, and we just added the take call to it. This is how you do top n, or top number of rows. So this isn't terribly complex. In future episodes, we'll get into a little bit more in depth on how to do complex filtering. But I just want to again give you an overview on how to do inner and outer joins, groupings, and takes, and selects to the top n. So hope you learned.